Okay, so there's the story that I would like to tell you. And you can listen or not. Oh well. So this story is about some people, well, a couple sets of people, right? For this important story. There's a set of people called the non-beneficiaries, right? So the non-beneficiaries were occupying their area, right? And they had a nice area, right? And they loved their area. Their area loved them. They loved their land. Their land loved them. It poured into them. Nature was plentiful, and they loved it. And they didn't kill nature for no reason. If nature they were to need it, they, took advantage of it as far as what they needed. They didn't take no more than what the fuck they needed, right? And so nature was beautiful, and it provided. So there was a group of people um, known as the traders, right, who looked like the non-beneficiaries, but they weren't the non-beneficiaries, right? They were traders. They look like the non-beneficiaries, but they're not them. And they were traveling and moving around, right? And they happened upon the non-beneficiaries, and they were amazed at all of the resources that the non-beneficiaries had. And they were like, you could do this with this and that. Just, big eyes, whatever. Because they had traveled and encountered the beneficiaries, right? So the beneficiaries had given them these wild, which the things you can kill nature for, right? So the traders went on about their business, probably encountered the beneficiaries somewhere doing the piratous shit that they do, and they were probably going to rob them. And they said, you know what, if you spare us, we can take you to a place where there are many, many, many things, many resources, and plenty of things, and you can have as much as you can get or whatever. And they were like, okay, take us there. So the traders took took the beneficiaries to the land of the non-beneficiaries, right? And they were just as amazed as the traders. They were everywhere they looked, because that's how much the land loved the non-beneficiaries, and the non-beneficiaries loved the land, and it protected the land, right? And so initially, the beneficiaries Okay, so initially the beneficiaries came on some rah rah mumbo, number jumbo shit, like we gonna get you can get down, lay down, and they got that shit stumped out, right? So they had to go back to the drawing board and think of another plan, right? So they was like, okay, well, we know that they love nature. We're a part of nature, and so we just placate under them like that. Then we'll do it that way. So they did, and they came back, and they was, oh, da, 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 you're this and you're that, and they were paying attention to the non-beneficiaries, and the non-beneficiaries let their guard down because they're good, and they don't expect that the beneficiaries had ill intentions the whole time, because they don't operate like that, so they didn't necessarily believe that other things operated that way, right? So they just didn't give them the credit that they deserved, right? As they still don't do to this day. But anyway, that's another story. But anyway, uh, so they played up under them, right, and got to know who they were, and then they started to play them against each other, and play in their head and play them against each other. And so they turned each other against each other, and then they inserted themselves, right? And then not only did they insert themselves, then they sent for more of themselves, and they came through a place, a port called Ellis. We'll call it Ellis Island. That'll be a good name for it. And they came through that port, right? And then they just started taking over shit on, some slick, smooth type. Oh, just let me do this, and they'll do this, they'll mess it up, da, 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 da. And so then they decide, oh, well, you need schools, right? So we need to run these schools. So then they grabbed the children of the non-beneficiaries, and they put them in these schools, and they told them these tall fucking tales, right? And as adventurous and good-hearted as the non-beneficiary children are, as their parents and grandparents and, before them, they believe these tall tales, right? And then so they took them over, right? And the non-beneficiaries believe that their So then the beneficiaries created them a system in which they benefit from, right? So they're the beneficiaries of their system or their situation, right? And they have convinced the non-beneficiary children that they are included, but they have rules and shit that is going on in the background that the non-beneficiary kids are unaware of. That's why they have private little clubs in every city that they have periodic meetings to go over these things that are happening in the background. And then they made many organizations for the non-beneficiary kids to get involved in, some of them who are pussy bitches too, to get involved in, so then they could be able to have some control over the well, not control, but crumbs off the table of resources. And they'll take that because they have bought into the beneficiaries' lives because they got them when they were little children, and they still believe that they're included among the beneficiary because the beneficiaries are some punk ass bitches and they just won't say, I don't fuck with you and I don't like you. They'll do things and then they'll say, no, that's not what that is. That's not what that is. While they're punching you or stabbing you in your fucking back, they're saying, no, that's not what that is. That's not at all what that is. And this story, I just made this up. So, TikTok, I just made this story up. This was for entertainment purposes. I just made it up.